jury is present, sir.
Sir, thank you. You may proceed.
Please, court, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
All right. I think when we left off, I was showing you states, what is that, 313, I believe? And that's
313.
That's the fairest check that was found in the defendant's office that he had lied to everyone and told that he never received.
This is the first one.
One of them, at least, correct?
One of them, the first one that we knew of.
All right. And then we're around September 2nd or something like that, and around that same time, Jeannie starts printing or researching in y'all's system forge, and then finds all the fake forge checks. Is that right?
She used the query forge to see whether anything had been put into an annuity, any fees had been moved or put under an annuity, and a list came out of, I don't know, 10 or 12 different cases.
And y'all called the real forge and said, y'all have any of these clients? And they said no. Y'all ever banked to Bank of America? They said no.
We did, but in that list, like the fourth or fifth one was a client that I was representing, and the money was to be held in trust. And when we pulled up the documents, supporting documents, it had a notation on it that it was invested for 3 years, which I knew couldn't be, so I went and called the client. Client verified that he hadn't authorized anything, hadn't done anything, and I immediately told him that his funds would be put back in there, and I walked back across the street to Jeannie's office and told him we had a big problem.
And that was Thomas Moore, correct?
That was Tommy Moore, yeah.
That was a highway patrolman had been injured, correct?
Correct.
And Alex stole his money?
He did.
And they had been friends, to your knowledge?
As far as acquaintances, friends, I'm not sure what their relationship.
And I'm not going to go through in great detail because it's already been done, but generally you and Jeannie were probably the main drivers of the investigation into all of this theft in States 314, this spreadsheet.
All of us were involved, but I was with Jeannie a vast amount of the time.
I'm sorry.
I was with her a vast amount of the time, going through and auditing them and checking to see.
All right. And ultimately, you had to reach out and talk to a lot of these clients of Alec Murdaugh's, right?
I did.
And you had to tell them what had happened?
I did, including 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, another one.
And you had to tell them that Alec had lied to them, right?
I did.
And they said, Alec lied to me. He never told me that, correct?
Yes.
Response.
I'll move on. You had conversations with all those clients, the clients that you dealt with, right?
I dealt with the majority of them, yes.
All right. I'm going to show you what's been marked as Exhibit 314. Just real quick. Go through and just don't have to go into anything more, but just list the names of people that you had to deal with personally over what he had done.
Well, I was involved with the one for Barrett Bowler with Ronnie.
All right, let's talk about Barrett for a second. That was one of his close friends, right?
He was.
And can you describe the money that he stole from Barrett?
Barrett had a fire on a piece of property that he had, and it burned down the house. And there were proceeds for cleaning up, and then there were proceeds for various and sundry things that were associated, as well as the structure. And we started looking at it and figured out that the $75,000 had been stolen, and then later on that there was an additional amount that never went through there.
How much was that additional amount?
$279,000 according to this exhibit number.
That was a close friend of
314.
his, correct?
I
To
would
your
say
understanding?
I would say that was one of his closest friends.
One of his closest friends.
That's who he ended up getting Moselle from.
And when he stole that $75,000 from Barrett Boulware, Barrett was sick and needed that money to put his wife up in a hotel near the hospital he was at, didn't he?
Barrett was dying of colon cancer, yes.
And needed that money, and Alex stole it anyway, right?
I assume he needed the money.
All right, keep going. Just, again, just,
The next one down is Jacob, the estate of Jacob Hirschberger. And at first,
again, we don't need to get into each one, but that's one of them that you had to deal with?
that's one that I just dealt with 2 weeks ago, and we're still straightening it out.
But you had, the firm had to straighten it out and deal with the money because he took it, correct?
We are now. We're in the process of it.
After talking with the clients and everybody else involved, right?
Correct.
All right, go on to the next one, please.
Mr., you want me to give the names, or?
Yeah, just give them
Mr.
that.
Anderson I dealt with, Dion Martin and his family I dealt with.
All right, let me slow down. So Christopher Anderson, you said, that's somebody you had to talk to yourself?
Yes, sir.
And y'all had, the firm had to pay money for what he did, correct?
Yes, sir.
Dion Martin was somebody you talked to yourself?
I did, and along with his
Been
parents.
horribly injured in an accident?
He had a brain injury, correct?
And had a brain injury?
Yes, sir.
And you had to talk to him about the defendant lying to him with his brain injury, correct?
And his parents,
And his parents and taking his money, correct?
correct.
All right, keep going.
Elise Mallory,
Elise Mallory, and she had a relative who died, correct?
she did, and I had
Very
represented.
sweet old lady. Have you met her?
Well, Elise,
That's what I mean.
she's not real.
Oh, I'm sorry. The person that you dealt with, the personal representative.
And then,
Is she a very sweet, nice lady? The PR?
yeah,
In that case?
I haven't had a single one of these clients that weren't nice people,
Very nice people.
super nice people,
And he
and,
took advantage of each one of them and lied to them, correct?
yes, sir.
All right. Tell me some more names.
The Risher case, I wasn't involved in it. Johnny Bush, I dealt with him. I talked with J.J. Jinks.
To your knowledge, Johnny Bush considered himself a friend of Alec Murdaugh's?
I don't know whether they were friends, but they were good acquaintances. Johnny was a little bit different. He overcharged him on, or gave him the impression that it was, the $95,000 was for expenses. It was
Right.
not.
So he lied and told him that there were expenses that had to be paid, and instead Alec Murdaugh stole that money from his good acquaintance, Johnny Bush, correct?
That's correct.
Keep going if you would, please.
J.J. Jinks, I talked with J.J., but I didn't deal with the paying him back part of it.
But y'all, the firm still had to pay him back for the lies that Alec Murdaugh told, correct? And for the theft.
Correct.
All right, keep going if you would, please.
The Christiani matter is still ongoing.
All right, keep going if you would, please.
And then Randy Drawdy, that matter's over. Tommy Moore, I've dealt with him. His money's back in trust, where it's supposed to be.
All right. Tommy Moore was a highway patrolman that got injured in the line of duty, correct?
He was,
And Alec lied to him and took his money, correct?
correct. This is not all of them either.
So that's the ones for now, correct? That's the ones that are on that list that's been admitted to evidence here, correct?
Correct, but there's a good many more than this.
Are you aware in your conversations with the defendant that back around the time of the recession that he had gotten into some land deals that had gotten him some financial issues?
I think it was squeezing him, yes.
And then, not long after that, he had some big cases, such as the Arthur Badger case and the Pinckney UPS case and the Plyler case, in which he got a large amount of fees from very large recoveries, correct?
Badger was the UPS, Pinckney was the tire case.
Okay.
But yeah, he got very big fees.
All right. And you thought that with all those fees that you knew who he got because he's your partner and you get to see the books. You're the treasurer of the firm, or have been for an extended period, is that correct?
For the old firm, yes.
And you thought that the money that he legitimately got from those cases had solved those problems because it was a lot, wasn't it?
I think I, along with everybody else, thought that he was totally out of any debt.
But on
To
top,
speak of.
but you've come to find out on top of the fees that he got, he also stole millions from those clients, correct?
Yes, sir.
It wasn't enough for him, was it?
Clearly not.
almost done. Going back to that scene that you went to. You didn't see any blood on Alec Murdaugh that night, did you?
No, sir.
And when you went back the next day, you went back because y'all had attempted to call, y'all had called the coroner to get the names, and he had given you the names of some companies that their job is to come out and help clean up scenes like this, correct?
That's correct.
And y'all had called them, but nobody had called back, and you just felt like you had to do something, so you went to the scene. Is that right?
Well, we were trying to also see what we could find out, if there was anything that we could do to lend assistance. I mean, this was something that was, I mean, everything stopped.
Everything stopped.
The whole world did.
And being a friend like people would be and just trying to do whatever you could, correct?
Friend and, you know, we're lawyers. We try to figure out what happened to things.
And you went in that feed room and observed the things that you saw.
I did.
And you also ended up getting blood on your sleeves, correct?
I did. I didn't know
Up
it.
high, correct?
On my shoulder areas and on my pants.
I asked you a little bit about the defendant's cell phone use. Was it like him to have very short phone calls, or was he one to talk for a while?
I mean, he would cut you off with one phone call coming in on top of another. He'd call you about something and say, "Oh, I'll call you back," and click it off, and you know.
But he'd start talking about something, right?
Yeah, but I mean, he would. It was regular.
It was regular. He would typically talk for more than a minute, though.
I mean,
said that
I would
correct?
assume so. I mean, most people, a minute is not much of a conversation.
It's not much of a conversation just for a minute, is it?
No.
The night of the murders, did you see a golf cart up at the Moselle residence
I saw one in front of their house.
in front of the house?
Yeah, if you drove up the driveway, it was over to the left.
It was parked in front of the house?
It was parked off to the left side of the house.
Going back to September, and y'all find out about the Ferris fees, and y'all find out about Fake Forge, and y'all have a meeting of partners without Alec there and without Randy there, correct?
Well, first of all, on the 2nd, which was Thursday,
Right.
when the stuff with Forge came up and you started looking down, when I made the phone call to Tommy Moore, and first thing Jeannie did was start grabbing our check. All we could see was our end of it. So if a check was written off of our trust account or our operating account, but these were mostly trust checks, if it was written off a trust account, we could get a copy of our check. We didn't know where it had gone from there, and we could see the disbursement sheets, and we could tell where they were deposited by looking at the back of the check, which you don't normally do. I mean, it's just not. And when you started seeing commonality to it, and then but the Moore thing was concrete. I mean, there was just no way that money couldn't have been written out because it was being held. He had an ongoing workers' comp claim that was a statutory lien. You couldn't give him the money. And
Bottom line is, without rehashing the whole story for the jury again, y'all knew he had been stealing at that point.
that's when we found out, and then I met
Didn't know how much. In fact, you found out a whole lot later,
a
correct?
whole lot. We had about 6 at that time. I met with our president that night and Ronnie Crosby and set up a meeting for the next morning, and we met, and then Randy was tied up and then came, and at that point it was unanimous, and then Randy and Danny went and talked to him.
All right. And then when confronted
He
with
admitted
that,
it.
and he was forced to resign, is that correct? Or y'all terminated him?
Well, he could either resign or be terminated, but it was a 30-second decision.
And what day was that when that happened?
That was Friday.
What day? Do you remember?
That would have been September the 3rd. And we immediately started into all the things you have to do when you find out that a lawyer's been stealing in your firm, which has been absolute teetotal pure hell since then.
So everything was coming home to roost. The storm was arriving again for Alec on September 3rd when y'all confronted him. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. I mean, it was over.
And then on September 4th, what happened? What did you hear about?
I had spoken to Mr. Griffin just to let him know that we had terminated him. He already knew, and about 11:30, 12 o'clock, whatever time it was, I was on a tractor, and he called me and said, "You're not going to believe what happened." And I thought, my first response was, "Don't tell me that jackass killed himself."
Right.
And he said, "No, somebody shot him." And I just said, "I don't believe that." That's
You don't
bullshit.
believe that. A lot of people thought right away that, oh my gosh, the real killers are back. Correct? The chickens were home to roost again for Alec, and all of a sudden he's a victim again, correct?
Objection, Your Honor, to what other people think.
Objection's overruled.
I went to the scene. I went straight to the scene, but I didn't believe it.
You didn't believe it, because
No.
you have training as a lawyer, right?
I don't know whether it was intuition, training, whatever. I just didn't believe it.
And what did you see at the scene that confirmed that this
well,
time?
I got out.
It didn't work.
Danny and Ronnie were there and standing there, and I said, I don't buy it. And we walked up towards the car, and I think I said it's got run flat tires, and the tire's not flat. Before we got to it, Ronnie said it doesn't even have a spare. And then when we got up to it, you could see it at 9 o'clock where somebody had stabbed the tire. And we hung around there, and then when Sled showed up, I think it was actually David Owens showed up, or Ryan Kelly showed up, one of them, and that's when we told him we had fired him the day before. And what had happened, we were in consultation with a lawyer we had to hire on Friday to figure out what to do and how to do it. And when this happened, we thought they needed to know.
And you were told that Alec claimed at the scene that he was shot by some unknown assailant, correct?
That was the story.
But you knew this scene had been manufactured by Alec, correct, when you arrived there?
I didn't know that. I suspected. It just didn't look like, I mean, it was a shiny Mercedes black car with no holes in it, a single shot. There's the back hatch isn't open. There's no nothing. I mean, it just doesn't look right.
And just when accountability is arriving again, the defendant manufactures himself being a victim, correct?
That's what it turned out to be.
Thank you, Mr. Ball.
Redirect.
Briefly, Your Honor. Mr. Ball, to your knowledge, has the law firm, PMPED, repaid all the money to the clients that's owed, as well as insurance company have pitched in?
To this point, we're holding some money as of 2 weeks ago, and in one of the matters, we're trying to get that money returned. We're having to go through a PR.
And the list of names that you read off, those folks, if they were entitled to the money now, they've received it? Is that right?
The people on that list have, yes, and there's a bunch more that have as well.
And the law firm is currently out a lot of money. Is that correct?
We are.
As a result of Alex?
Well, the law firm and the partners in the law firm.
Yeah.
We've had to pony it out of our pocket.
Sure. You personally have had to pony up.
Yes, sir, along with my partners.
And when Alec was resigned or terminated in September, he had some cash flow coming into the firm that the firm was able to keep and use that to pay some of the claims.
Well, no, sir. All of our funds, doesn't matter what I earn until it's declared at the end of the year. It's law firm money.
No, I understand that. So law firm money earned off Alex cases that was the firm money when he left?
Well-
We're talking a couple of $1 million?
First of all the cases are owned by the law firm. They're not Mark's cases, they're not Alex's cases. They're law firm cases. Cases that Alec was working on generated monies, and we internally decided how we were, a formula that we were going to use, because people had to complete those cases. And we've allocated much, much more than ordinarily. Our expenses are taken out in a different way, but we allocated a bunch of money to paying those, yes.
I understand. But the income from those cases, north of $2 million, perhaps?
Yes, sir.
And your firm and Jeannie Seconder and others have cooperated with SLED and the Attorney General's office in their investigation of Alex's misdeeds in relation to those client matters, have they not?
We have.
And as a result of, I mean, you're aware that Alex has 90+ pending charges against him for financial, the stuff you just testified about, right?
Yes, sir.
And you've been subpoenaed here today to testify in the murder case, correct?
I've been subpoenaed since this trial started.
And you know this is the murder case.
Yes, sir.
Now, immediately after the murder of Maggie and Paul, and you talked about Alex's demeanor, did he come to work and was able to work on cases?
No, sir. He was out for a while. I think he went to his in-laws and stayed. He didn't, after the funeral was either Friday or Saturday, I can't remember, and then Randolph died on Thursday after this. And then Randolph's was on Sunday, and Alex he was staying between Randy, John Marvin, and whoever else, his mother's house. I think he went to his in-laws. I know he went down to visit with his brother-in-law and sister-in-law.
Sure. And
But no, he was not. There was a period of time he wasn't doing it. He might come by, and he would be in his office generally looking at sympathy notes.
And from your observation, was he in any frame of mind to do any productive legal work the month of June?
No.
The month of July?
We sat down and talked about it as partners, and not with Alec, about what we were going to do, because there's deadlines and things that have to be done, and so we were going to try to figure out how we were going to delicately kind of start stepping in on some of his cases and making sure everything was being done according to what needed to be.
And I think you testified about how the firm, partners in the firm, lawyers in the firms, were reaching out and using your resources to try to find out perhaps who played a role in killing Maggie and Paul.
We absolutely were.
But were you careful not to go out and do the investigation yourself and just relay the information back to SLED?
Right. I mean, we weren't trying to be private eyes or any of that. We were just trying to see, and I relayed numerous things to the various officers, and I would preface it by, I don't know whether this means anything, but you never know. I mean.
And was, to your knowledge, was information being relayed through Alex's attorneys to pass on to SLED?
Well, I know I dealt with you on various things up until the stealing.
Sure. And to your knowledge, was Alex consenting and cooperating with SLED in their investigation?
As far as I knew, yes. I mean, I wasn't with him during those interviews or anything else, but as far as I knew, he was. And I would ask him, where we stand, have you heard anything?
Right. And were you aware that Alex Buster put up a reward?
I was.
And are you also aware that when Paul was criminally charged in the boating case, Alec came under criticism for interfering in the investigation. You remember that?
I was.
And in fact, there's been some pretty public allegations about that, about Alec, that had surfaced before Maggie and Paul had been murdered.
Absolutely. I mean, they were criticizing him for advising people of stuff, but I'm a lawyer, I'm a parent, daddy. One of my kids has some problem or gets accused of something, or one of my friends' kids, I'm gonna put my lawyer hat on and advise them to be quiet until their parents get there and get counsel if I think it's a serious matter.
Sure. You were asked about Alec's cell phone use and about whether he would take the phone down to the kennel. Have you ever been down to the kennels with Alec?
Yeah,
Okay. Have you been riding the property with Moselle with Alex?
I have, not a whole lot. I mean, as time went on, you know, our families got older, and you just, when you don't have children, it's you're doing a lot more things together on the weekends and stuff. And as your children get older and they're in college, and he was going to Walford and different places where Buster was, and
Sure.
you know, your interests are different as well. But yeah, I would occasionally, or if he was building something, he might ask me what I thought about it or show me something. I mean, I saw his duck pond and, you know, rode around the property several times.
Was cell phone coverage spotty down at the shed in the kennels?
It can be, it varies. I mean, it can be. I don't remember specifically where and what. You know, out where I live, if I go in my house with a metal roof, this morning somebody was trying to talk to me and I had to walk out on the porch. Other days I can talk just fine in my house. I live 8 miles, 9 miles from where this place is, and I don't know whether it's a metal roof or whether I'm just at the end of wherever a cell tower is, but out in my area, which is Rome Gully,
Sure.
it can be spotty.
And you mentioned about spending time at Moselle and when the kids were younger, before Alec got Moselle, you had a farm.
I do.
And would Alec bring the boys over to hunt on your property?
Mostly Paul.
Mostly Paul?
Yeah, I mean, Buster would come some, but Buster was older, and then obviously when Buster started college, he wasn't around as much, but Paul was a very avid hunter and was over at either my place or Ronnie's place a lot.
And he and Alec were together a lot doing that?
Paul?
Were he and Alec, he and Paul, Alec and Paul together a lot?
Yeah, yeah. And Paul was with his grandfather a lot.
And I think you mentioned that Paul would leave stuff over there?
All three of them, but, you know, they would just, they'd leave a gun, they'd leave a coat, they'd leave a flashlight, maybe all three. And it was just sort of a running joke that you had to kind of go around and gather up their stuff after they left. And that was just them.
And did you remember one time Paul had left a gun over there for a couple of months?
He did, and Alec left one time, I believe, and I cleaned it and put it up, and he started asking around where his gun was, and, you know, we just sort of played with him a little bit and then gave it back to him.
Right. I think you testified moving September the 4th. You had gotten word about a shooting involving Alec, and I think your words were that jackass had killed himself.
That was what I thought immediately.
And why did you think that?
Because of all that had gone on. We had terminated him, or he had resigned the day before. This financial stuff was starting to come out, and, you know, I thought, you know, he'd lost 2 family members, and now he's got no job, and, you know, it seemed feasible. I mean, I had been concerned about his mental health from the time of the murders up until then. In fact, I had suggested that he go see somebody for grief counseling. I mean, we were all grieving their loss, and you know, it's one of those deals that you just you can tell when somebody's not hitting on all cylinders, and he obviously was. I would come by his office and he would be crying. I mean, or I would ask him something. I remember him asking me one time when he was going through he had a stack of sympathy cards, and he said, should I send them all back a note? And I said, Alec, people don't send you sympathy cards to, get a note back from you. There's no way in the world you can do that. And he said he missed
he
them.
was terminated from the firm and you were concerned about perhaps what he might do, did you ever think maybe he'll go kill a family member? Did that ever cross your mind?
No, you talking about when we terminated him?
Yes, sir.
By then, Maggie and Paul had been killed.
Well, he had family out there.
He did. I never thought of any of that. Listen, when September the 2nd hit, it changed everything that I knew about Alec. I would have never believed that a guy that, was like family would have ever stolen from me, would have stolen from his family, would have stolen from his clients, or any of that. And so immediately, you've got this rage, this emotion that you've got, and then on the 3rd, we go through this whole ordeal of the termination, and then the 4th it hits, and you're like, did the jackass kill himself because of anything else? And then as time progressed on, and you see the scope of it, I mean, I don't know the guy that after September the 3rd and leading out, I don't know who that guy is. I mean, that's not Alec that I knew,
Right.
and Alec that I loved, and Alec that all of us loved. Did he have imperfections? You bet. Did he do things that aggravated the hell out of me? You bet. But you don't kick your brother out the door because, they snore at night or they've done things that aggravate you. You get past it. But when they do things that are criminal and they do things that affect not only him, but he's torn down an entire legacy, a law firm. I've spent 34 years, or 33 years, I guess, in this one place. It's the only law firm that I've ever worked at. I put everything in it. It's all my children have known, my family's known, and it's gone. We had to change the name. We've had to do all these things because of his acts on this financial stuff. And when it comes to that, I'm mad as hell. I mean, you just don't know how mad I am. But on the other hand, I'm not saying that because he did that, he's done what he's accused of. And so that's, that's sort of the bottom line of it. His actions he was doing that way back, but we never knew it.
Sure.
And when we found out about it, it makes you doubt everything, and it's just human nature. But I don't have one shred of anything. All I can do is just point to what I saw.
And you pointed to the roadside shooting and what you saw. You thought that jackass tried to kill himself.
Absolutely, and I may not have said jackass, but it's about as
And
non-church
logically,
as I want
to
to get
you,
him.
it made sense why he would want to kill himself in that moment.
Sure. I mean, he'd lost, as far as I was concerned, he'd lost everything. He'd lost his job, and he'd lost, forget the job, forget the money, forget what's going to happen to him. He'd lost his wife and his child. And
are you aware that he had $12 million of life insurance?
I didn't know what he had. I assumed he had some life insurance, but no. I mean, I never had that conversation with him, and quite frankly, I'd have to see it to really believe it.
Okay. Thank you. That's all the questions.
Recross.
I think you just said that what you know now about this man who'd been your partner and friend for 34 years causes you to question everything you thought you knew about him. Isn't that right?
It does.
You were asked about all those clients that had to be repaid money, and none of that money came from him, did it?
No, sir,
Y'all had to pay that money, right?
we did.
How much?
I would say at this point, probably north of $10 or $11 million. Now, insurance paid for some of that, but I mean, there's been a substantial chunk of that came out of our pocket.
You were asked about Alec having some cases that were coming in, but you explained, though, that this is June, and that disbursement's not going to come to him until December. He's not going to be able to get that money until December, correct? Any of what he's entitled to, which isn't all of it, correct? Because it belongs to the firm.
Right, everything belongs to the firm until the end of the year when you meet, and then you divide up money, and
that's
we
why
have
he
a
stole the fares
formulation.
fees in March, because he needed the money right then.
I would assume so. I mean, the money was gone, and it was paid in 3 checks.
You said that in the month after the murders, he wasn't really working on cases, but he sure managed to arrange to cover those fares fees to pay him back so that everyone would forget about it, didn't he? Or not all of it. He managed to do that, didn't he?
Yeah, well, part of it. I mean, I think there was $192,000 that didn't.
That he convinced Chris Wilson to cover for him.
Convinced, or Chris had to cover it, one of the two.
You were asked about him cooperating with law enforcement in the murders. But he never told law enforcement that he was down at the kennels just minutes with the victims before they died. He never told law enforcement that, did he?
Yeah.
I think it's responsive to redirect.
You can testify if you know.
I don't know what he told law enforcement other than what's been out there in the public.
Well, let me ask you this. He denied to you 3 times that he ever went to those kennels, did he not?
He did.
His buddy, his friend, and his law partner, 34 years, told you 3 times, I was never there.
That's correct.
And you know now that's a lie.
When I saw the video a month or so ago.
Thank you, Mr. Ball.
You step down.
Thank you.